Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker-Geist, and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process in discussions between the authors, narrators, producers, and post-production teams that bring them all together, as well as guests who have listened to the audiobooks and have questions for the creative teams. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Hi, I'm Becky Parker-Geist. I'm the host of Audiobook Connection, the Behind the Scenes with the Creative Teams podcast. I'm also president of Bay Area Independent Publishers Association and the CEO and founder of Pro Audio Voices and Amplify Audiobooks, providing audiobook and podcast production, distribution, and marketing. And today I have with me Christopher Locke, who is the Director of Membership Services at IBPA. That stands for Independent Book Publishers Association. Christopher, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So I thought we might just start off with letting our listeners who may or may not have ever heard about IBPA and the wonderful work that you guys do. So what IBPA is and what you do for the organization.
Yeah, well, thank you for that endorsement, by the way. We appreciate that. And you're a member also, so...
Absolutely, yeah.
We are a trade association. So we help publishers, author publishers, independent publishers. We even have some things for authors, but we mostly focus on publishing. And we have a lot of different benefits that are helpful. So we have like kind of 4 categories: helping people with networking, learning, so education about publishing, helping them sell more books with book marketing programs. And then we have a lot of discount on book publishing services. And we've been around since 1983. And our main overall goal is just to help independent publishers succeed.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you. And so it started in 1983. When did you start with IBPA?
Yeah, so 2018, and I am so grateful to the organization that over the years, so I'm an author publisher myself, meaning that I publish my own books. I'm an author, and I, at some point, before IBPA, I published the books, but then when I joined IBPA, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much I don't know about publishing. And I wish I had known when I published the books, because I would have done things differently and better. But it's a process, so that's okay. I mean, we meet, publishers at every stage of the journey. So I'm happy when people join us before they publish a book, because there are right ways and wrong ways to do it. And like I said, slowly but surely, I was like, I think I might have done it more the wrong way than the right way.
I had a really similar experience myself. Published my first book, had no idea really how to do it. Somebody mentioned Lulu, and I was like, okay. And but I really had no clue. And it wasn't until I joined IBPA that and Bay Area Independent Publishers Association, which is a sister affiliate organization to IBPA. But with that tremendous amount of resources and information, it made me really understand just how much I didn't know.
Yeah, and especially for author publishers, when you're taking on the hats of what is normally spread out through a bunch of people at a different publishing association. So yeah, it's one of those things where you can look back and say, I wish I'd done things differently, but you literally can't go back. So
that's right. And it's all learning. It's all learning. Yeah.
And I fixed things I hadn't, like my books were only on Amazon. They weren't on Ingram Spark, for example. So the reach was much smaller initially. So then I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many retail sites out there other than Amazon where you can sell your books, things like that. And then for indie publishers, it's different because they're really trying to figure out how to run a business and then publish other people's books. So I appreciate learning about all the things they go through. And then I certainly know so much more about independent publishing than I ever did beforehand.
Right. It's in some ways very similar issues, challenges, struggles that indie authors are going through, but indie publishers have that next layer of complexity and some just different challenges that they need to address. So, yeah, IBPA is an amazing resource for those of us in this independent publishing realm and small publishers as well. And how did you get started with IBPA?
Yes, so I had worked in TV for 10 years and I enjoyed it, but then I wanted to leave to follow my dreams, which was to be a novelist. And I wrote and published 2 books and then quickly learned, it's very difficult to make a career out of being an author. And so I mean, you can, but you can, then not pay your bills, whatever you want. So I was like, well, I love this world. So how can I stay in this world? So I live in Los Angeles and I was looking around for opportunities and I found that most publishing happens in New York City. And so I was like, oh, well, what is here? And I just came across a listing for IBPA and luckily they had an opening and I did not start out as the director of membership. In fact, interestingly, I started out as an intern there. So it was a long journey and I'm so grateful again that they saw something in me. They were like, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. So I was able to get promoted over the years and each different promotion's taken me to, different parts of the association. So as a director of membership, my whole focus is just making sure our members are happy and making sure that we have the right benefits for them, but then also making sure that new people come in. And so then it's kind of between those two, there are a lot of the same things, which is if you're already a member, the things that are going to be helpful for you are going to be the reasons why people would want to join. So it's just making sure whatever a publisher needs, we are, finding all of those opportunities and then adding them as benefits.
Yeah. And I know that one of IBPA has really navigated so beautifully, I think, this constantly changing world, but especially of publishing, but especially this time period where what we always used to only call self-publishing into what has really risen in not only in the quality of the publishing being done and the tools being offered, but also, just like raising the standard and helping it to become not this, you're self-published, which the attitude used to be, if you're self-published, then obviously your work is not good enough to get a publisher kind of world that was prevalent early on. I think that's really changed. Do you, by any chance, I didn't ask you this in advance if you knew, so it's okay if you don't, but do you know sort of where indie publishing is in terms of how many books are published by independently versus the big publishers?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that something I heard was that, we absolutely undervalue how much of an impact indie publishing makes in terms of revenues, like literally billions of dollars. And something that people don't realize is more and more the large publishers, the big 5, they distribute the books of small indie presses. And so in terms of revenue, like the large, publishers like, Penguin Random House and all that, they're making money off of small independent publishers. And so the lines have been crossed over the years. So people think that we're, indie publishers, maybe aren't, and I'm talking about independent publishers as well as author publishers as if we're not making an impact or something, but like literally billions of dollars are being made and books are, absolutely getting through. I mean, things like The Martian, 50 Shades of Grey. I mean, there's a lot of books that started out as they self-published or just in the independent world. Of course, what happens is then they sell enough and then the big 5 go, hey, we'd love to be part of what you're doing. And so then they buy the rights and all that. But it's absolutely a successful platform and business model that I'd like to think is getting, like you said, more, prestige and people are understanding that it's valuable. But, I think especially when it comes to awards, I think some of the bigger awards still aren't like the Booker Prize or something, like they're not giving enough credit to independent publishers. I think most of those big awards go to the, big 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. As I understand it, I mean, IBPA is like it is the organization. It's like the association, the place where we as independent independently published authors, small publishers. It's the one big organization that is national and really serves our particular area of needs.
Correct. Yeah. So we're the largest in the US, and you're right that in terms of what we focus on, it's all indie publishing. So there are other, like the AAP, American Association, where they have like for publishers, but they have the big five in there, but we're only for indie publishers. And so everything we think about is in those terms. And obviously then there are things that are more difficult for indie publishers. So it's still access to the trade. So bookstores can still be difficult to get into as an indie. And so we're trying to break those walls down. And then libraries is another market that's really big. I think a little bit easier than bookstores to get into, but still something that we're helping our members with. But then also advocacy in terms of big issues going on in, maybe like things like with AI and all that, and helping our members understand where the benefits are, but then also where they can hopefully avoid some of the pitfalls. So, but yes, yeah, we only focus on making sure that indie publishers are out there succeeding. And it is a bit of an uphill battle, but what's helpful is when we all join together, then it makes it easier. So for example, trade shows, so like the American Library Association conference is a really great way to connect with librarians. But as a booth, it's thousands and thousands of dollars, and indie publishers can't afford that. So IBPA has a booth that's a cooperative booth. So we all get together as members, and we have a 4,000 members, but we have about each year, maybe like 350 that participate in that program. And we represent their books for them at that conference. So they're still having access without having to pay the thousands of dollars for a booth, as well as paying for the cost of them traveling to wherever the conference happens to be in the US.
Right. Yeah. And there are as well organizations like Bay Area Independent Publishers Association, of which I'm president. And how many other sort of satellite organizations are there?
Yeah, so we have, I'd say at this point, just over 20 where, like you said, they're regional publishers associations. So we're not only a national, but international association, and we focus kind of on the big picture. But then there are these regional publishers associations that can really be helpful, especially for a few areas. So one is networking. If you want to connect with other publishers that are in your same city, not just virtually, but in person, then it's helpful to be part of these associations so that you can, connect with them. And then they have their own book awards that a lot of times are specifically for that area. So, it's great to win an award. I mean, we have the IBPA book awards, so that's helpful, but, why not win more than one, right? So, they have their own awards, and if you are in Florida or if you're in the Midwest, well, you can go to MIPA or FAPA and then possibly get an award, and it's maybe higher chances of you getting it because it's maybe specifically about books that are about whatever Minnesota or about Colorado or whatever. And they also have their own conferences. So we have IBPA Publishing University, but it's helpful to connect again with publishers in your area, so then you can go to their conferences in person and meet other people. And something I've certainly learned is the more you interact with other publishers, the better you're going to be at publishing. You're going to learn from them. Whenever you have a question, something's not working, you can reach out to this specific person and say, hey, I'm trying to land this distribution deal, running into some issues. I know you're distributed by whatever company, so maybe we can chat about that. So yeah, I think it's great to be, and we have a list on our website, and if you're part of one of these, you get $30 off IBPA membership. So it's one more way we try to encourage people to hopefully be, members of these other associations.
Yeah. And I know that there is a lot of education that is available through not only IBPA, but also the satellite groups like BEPA. Could you share some of the ways in which so maybe some of the main ways that you guys are helping to educate the members?
Yeah, so there's so many different, ways that people can and should learn about publishing. So one is, of course, just how you create a great book. So there may be a webinar about book cover design or about, interior book design. But then there's things about distribution. So there's many, many ways to get your books out there. And so then you can learn about all these different ways and then understanding what's a good fit for you. And then, of course, book marketing, so you have a book. Well, now you want people to buy it. So all of our associations will have webinars about, there's so many different ways to sell a book. So direct to consumer, to the library market, to bookstores, to retail stores, internationally. And I know something that, IBPA especially tries to do is also make sure people understand what's a good fit for them. So especially with things like book marketing, people are like, my book's for everyone and I want to sell it everywhere. And they waste a lot of money, especially like we were talking about author publishers. So it is difficult to get into the bookstores. So I would say don't start and focus a lot of your efforts on bookstores. Direct to consumer is better for author publishers. Same thing with the international market. It's going to be difficult to get your book sold to the international market unless you're maybe a more established indie publisher. So I'm not saying don't give it a try at all, but a lot of us have very limited budgets, and I see people wasting a few $1,000s on things that if I talked to them first, I would have said, I wouldn't recommend that. So, we really always try to then not just say, what are your options, but what the likelihood of the success rate, and IBPA and these other associations, we're nonprofits. So, we have book marketing programs, but anybody on staff is going to be more than happy to make sure that you do the right ones. And, you're not doing just all of them and then, and coming back and saying, I didn't sell any books, and then we want you to stay a member. We don't want you to do things that aren't going to be a good fit. So I think all of us really focus on trying to make sure that, it's honest feedback.
Yeah. And I received that kind of feedback myself when I launched my novel. I was asking about, what about the different options and programs. And I was given some of that guidance where otherwise I might have just, spent the extra money to try the thing out that wasn't necessarily the best path for me with where I was. So vouch for that honesty.
Yeah. There are a lot of for-profit companies out there that are more than happy to take your money and say, yep, give us $500 and we'll take your book to Frankfurt and, it'll be great for you. Right. And it's like, will it? Are you really going to sell books? Are you really going to get someone who, a publisher in Japan to publish your book or Germany or whatever? So I really take very seriously making sure that people are protected. I'm an author publisher, and I know that, man, there are so many scams out there. I'm shocked because sometimes we'll have some of the people come to us, different people, don't know each other. And it's the same company, and they go, oh, I gave them X amount of dollars and I don't even have a book yet. And I go, no, how did they not, and I'm always like, did you do research? Because if you type in the names of these books, these companies, and you type in controversy or you type in reviews or whatever, and very quickly you'll see lawsuits against them. But people keep, I don't know, these companies.
Hopeful.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a big deal for me. And I'm happy to talk to people and, persuade them or dissuade them from going with, things that are not going to be a good fit for them.
Right. And you do, in addition to things like this, being on a podcast, you do sort of webinars, right? And then, of course, PubU, if you'd like to talk a little bit about what that is like, what that entails. Kind of tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So IBPA Publishing University is every year, and it's in May, and we do it in different locations. Again, we're international, but most of our members are in the US, and we want to make sure that we get all the different states an opportunity to go. So we try to do like one, a few years ago it was in Florida, and then we did it in Colorado, and then last year we did it in Minneapolis. Next year we're doing it in Portland for 2026. Yeah, that would be great for you all.
Yep, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and so it's a really great place, I'd say, for two main things. One is just that networking. Like, there's nothing like when you talk to someone in person, you create a bond that you just can't do virtually. A lot of these virtual meetings feel very transactional, and it's just, what can you do for me? What can I do for you? Whereas when you're in person, you're standing in line for food, and the person standing next to you, and you just have a chat with them. And then you're like, oh my gosh, you are the, CEO of a major independent publishing company. That's amazing. So it's really cool to just casually and organically talk to people. But then, of course, there's educational sessions, and we split it up by like author publisher, independent publisher, and large independent publisher, so that no matter where you are on your journey, you have a track, and like literally like the whole day you have sessions that are specifically for you. And so that way we help people, guide them. And again, like something that would be for like a large independent publisher, talking about working with your distributor is not something that's going to be a fit for an author publisher. So we don't want an author publisher to go in and be like, what's going on? I don't even have distribution, so
right. Yeah.
We try to make that very clear. But to me, the best way I can describe it, it's like summer camp for publishers. Man, by the end of the weekend, like people are just reinvigorated, I mean, I've had people tell me, they were like, I wasn't sure if I was going to, keep my publishing company going because they were struggling so much. And I know it is a major uphill battle to succeed in publishing. But then in a situation like that makes them go, okay, I have a new plan and I have new people I've connected with. So yeah, I really love it. It's one of my favorite things that we do because it's, you don't really connect with people in person anymore. So I like it.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And I have to say, I know a lot of authors who, have attended PubU, and without exception, everyone comes back from it enthused, excited, inspired, rejuvenated. So it's a magnificent event. And since it's going to be in Portland next year, I think I want to especially encourage our listeners to come and we can meet in person. So
yeah. Meet Becky. You're going to be, just make sure you have like some type of hat or something with Pro Audio Voices so people know that you, t-shirt, whatever it is. I like those. Like I said, I don't like to feel like I'm networking for networking's sake. Some people are so smart going to stuff. They have like a list of people they're supposed to meet. That's great. I love that people do that. But I like to more organically meet people and make a genuine connection. And then it can blossom into, how can we work together? But I don't necessarily go into things with like, okay, who am I going to meet and how are they going to help me?
Right. Yeah. Let's take just a short pause and we're going to come right back. Would you like to earn more from your audiobook sales? If you're an author with an audiobook, you may have noticed that royalties from Audible especially, and other platforms as well, are frankly kinda pathetically low, disappointingly low, and unfairly low considering what it cost you in effort and resources to create it. How is it the retailers are the ones making all the money off your work and investment? As someone who started in the audiobook industry in 1981, I've found it frustrating that authors keep getting shortchanged. The good news is that Pro Audio Voices just launched Amplify Audiobooks, a direct sale audiobook platform for authors that puts you back in the driver's seat. Earn 65% of the gross sales price that you set. Compare that to the percentage of the percentage that retailers give. Run promotions on schedule whenever you want. Create coupon codes. Build community with your customers since you'll know who they are and how to contact them. Work with a caring, responsive, supportive team to help you succeed all along the way. Get help with marketing. Get paid weekly. We're helping audiobook authors who are frustrated by painfully low royalties and the barriers that prevent them from managing their own products and customers. Amplify Audiobooks is a direct sale platform that enables authors to earn much higher royalties and have way more control. We're disrupting the audiobook industry by putting authors first. Get started today at proaudiovoices.app or go to proaudiovoices.com and click on the Distribution Amplify link. Join the movement. I would love to talk with you a little bit more about some of the things that IBPA provides. Oh, I also, before we do that, I just wanted to let our listeners know that if you are, regardless of where you're located, because Bay Area Independent Publishers Association does events on Zoom, all of our events are on Zoom, and then we do two meetings a year that are hybrid, so we are also in person at those events, but our membership is open to anyone, and that we do educational presentations once a month, and then workshops, not every month, but most months. We also have sort of deep dive workshops on topics that are of value to our members. So just wanted to let you know about that. But coming back to IBPA, and you have a long list of member benefits, and I would love it if you would highlight a few of those. It could be some of the ones that you find are most often used. And then you can also talk about ones that might be of particular interest to authors who are looking into audiobooks and the options there.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for asking. So I'll mention some of the ones that are more general, but then because this audience is really interested in audiobooks, then I'll talk more about that. But yeah, so Bowker is one of our member benefits. You have to get an ISBN to have a book and an audiobook in the US. So we have a discount for that. And then Ingram Spark's another place where we have, if you have like an ebook or a print book, discounts there. Kirkus Reviews is a really great place where you can get a review for a book. So we have multiple of those. And then FedEx is another really popular one. So because everybody has to ship stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, but specifically for audiobooks, well, as I mentioned, we have with Pro Audio Voices, we have two separate ones actually. So there's the production side and there's the distribution side. So for production, you all have, split up into two different categories. One's for independent publishers and the other one's for author publishers. And you all have a program called the Publishing House Opportunity Program, and our members get a $300 discount for the setup fee. So that's quite the nice setup discount. And then author publishers get a $150 discount on the pre-production costs. And so what we like to say is, like our membership for author publishers and independent publishers is only $155, that's annual, and that's only $13 a month. And if you even use just this member benefit, you're paying for membership. So sometimes, people are like, I don't know if I have, whatever, $155 a year. And I'm like, but you're not even losing money. You're like making money. And then we also have the audiobook distribution. We have the Amplify Audiobooks member discount for $150. So, you run these businesses. So why don't you fill us in more on that? But those are the specific numbers.
Yeah. So the Publishing House Opportunities, we designed recognizing, really because I've been so active in the independent publishing world, recognizing some of the particular challenges that small publishers are facing, and knowing, like they have these books and audiobooks that they would like to get out, or most often, or I'll just say many times, they've got already, their plate is very full with trying to do just the publishing part, and the idea of trying to then learn the steep learning curve of trying to do audiobook production is more than most small publishers can even consider. And yet they know the importance of having the books in audio because it's a big section of the market. Right? People who only will do audiobooks. So we created a program that was going to help these small publishers with rates that are more manageable, because they are doing more titles. And so the discount that we offer there is really to get those small publishers in a place where they can then in turn be helping their author clients. And for indie authors who are heading into production on their own at Pro Audio Voices, giving them that boost in terms of that pre-production, the planning, which is so critical to success. And we recognize the importance of that phase. And I am continually surprised at how few audiobook producers even seem to address it. They sort of don't put the attention to it that I think it really deserves in terms of your overall success with your audiobook and how you can leverage that asset that you're creating as an audiobook to help you achieve your bigger picture goals with your publishing platform overall. And then with distribution, this Amplify Audiobooks really grew out of my working with many independent authors and hearing again and again, well, can I change the price? Or can I, run a promotion? Can I get discount codes? And most of the time, the answer was, sorry, but there's not really a way to do that. The industry was just not accommodating any kind of control for authors. And IBPA is all about that independent, right? We're doing something, we're stepping up, right? As indie authors and indie publishers, we're stepping up and wanting to retain that control, not just be content creators only and hand it off and just cross our fingers, right? So Amplify Audiobooks, also the frustration that I kept hearing about, well, why are my royalties so low? And this was really, really frustrating for me as someone who was trying to help authors thrive, right? So we created Amplify Audiobooks to address not only wanting to help authors have a place where they could earn way higher royalties, more equitable royalties, but also to have the marketing tools available that they can utilize to actually help them thrive and to drive that traffic. We're currently, I'm super excited, and I don't think I've shared this with you yet, but we're currently in the development of the next leveling up of Amplify, which is going to massively expand the opportunities for community building on the platform and also vastly increase the number of marketing tools, the types of marketing tools that are available. So that's just some exciting developments around all of that.
Yeah, no, the more that you can control your own product, like your books, your audiobooks, and where you sell them, if you're selling them direct from your platform, your website, then of course you're going to make more money than if you're selling them through someone else's site. So I love that Amplify Audiobooks exists. And, and also the point I wanted to make is that, like that idea of like independent publishing, especially the term like self-publishing, you still need to hire pros to do like things like creating your audiobook. I think it's like there's this fine line where, yes, we want to be in control of our own material and all that. But at the same time, if you're not a professional book cover designer, or if you've never produced an audiobook in your life, you spent so much time and effort to get these books published. The last thing you want to do is the finished product to have it be something that's subpar and unprofessional. So I know it's more money, but you really want to do it the right way and hire someone like you all, who you've been doing this for a very long time and you know what you're doing and you're going to deliver something that they're going to be really proud of versus them. And look, there were things I tried to learn, like, for example, the interior design of my book. I was like, let me try to save money. I almost tore all my hair out because that's not my skill set, is creating an interior of a book. And I kept getting frustrated with like, wait, where's that chapter? Just like weird, and I was like, what the, oh my God, are there chapters missing? And I just got so nervous that I was like doing it wrong. And I finally hired someone and was like, yeah, Yeah, sure, it costs me money, but now I know the whole book's there. It's not randomly missing some chapter because I didn't push some, button somewhere in the program. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to circle back to one of the other benefits that you mentioned, which is very commonly used, I think, is the ones with Bowker. For our listeners that don't know what Bowker is, it's, they provide those ISBNs. And one of the questions I sometimes get is, well, it is about why it's important, valuable for authors to own their own ISBNs, to get them directly from Bowker. Would you like to speak to that?
Of course, yes. So there are sites where you can upload your book and they'll give you a free ISBN, which sounds nice because they are like $125 each. And I understand, again, people trying to save money. But so one of the problems with that is, let's say you like your print book or your audiobook. Well, yes, that site now has your book, but if you're trying to post your book anywhere else, well, now you need a whole new ISBN. And so now there's two different versions of your book out there, which is very confusing, especially for the trade, like a library or a bookstore who's like, wait, is this a different edition? Like, why are there different versions? So that's one reason. And also you want to be in control, again, as someone in the indie world of your own material. So on a site like Bowker, when you buy your ISBN, you're filling out all the information. You're the publisher of record, which is what you want. You want, when people see this book, that you are listed as a publisher. You don't want, and again, these are good sites that you can get your book up through, but you don't want KDP or BookBaby or whomever to be listed as the publisher. It's not going to help in terms of your looking professional, when people are looking to get your book and they're listed as the publisher. So I don't know if you want to add any more to that, but
no, that was good. Yeah. And being able to control that metadata is so important. It's that sort of the behind the scenes piece, or one of the behind the scenes piece for authors where, you might not be aware of just how important it is, but it actually really does matter. And then I would also love if you would, I know you have a special program with NetGalley specifically for audiobooks that's actually not available with the time frame outside of IBPA. Could you tell our listeners a little bit about what NetGalley is and how it could help them with their audiobook?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So yes, we for years have been partnering with NetGalley, and it started with just their digital galleys. So a digital galley is like a free version of your print book, but like a digital version of it. And people go on to NetGalley, and the exchange is they have about 600,000, maybe even more now, readers on there. And your books and audiobooks, they download them for free, but they will leave reviews. And as somebody, you work in the industry too, reviews are so important. And there's a mixture, but it's mostly consumer, but there are librarians on there. There are booksellers, and these are people that are now aware of your book because these are all people that love books and audiobooks. So they're going on there. It's a community, right? And so they're going and they're just trying to discover the next new thing that they might put in their library, they might put in their bookstore, or if they're just, a reader, that they will tell their friends, I love this book. It's great. So they, a few years ago, added audiobooks, and you're right. They have a subscription that you can get where but then you'd have to have a certain amount of audiobooks every month. And there are a lot of people like our members who they publish maybe 2 books a year. So what we have is these different listings. So you can have a 1 month or a 2 month or a 3 month listing for your one book or your one audiobook as compared to getting a subscription. So it's really helpful, and it's helpful for NetGalley too, because, we do all the admin. So the members give us all their metadata, as you mentioned, which is like the book title, the files, the description and all that. And we upload all that. So we do all of that for you. So we were just talking about technology and all that. You don't need to learn how to use NetGalley or how to upload a file. We do all that for you. But it's such an incredible way to get the word out to literally thousands and thousands of people that love books. So it's one of our most popular programs. And people all the time, tell me that, like they just, it's fun getting reviews too, and even if you get a negative review, I think people think that they can be quite precious, especially if you're an author and think that, they don't get me, they don't like my books and they get very angry. But, I'd say two things. One, it's literally a person's opinion. So just because this one person didn't like your book or audiobook, it doesn't mean that your book's terrible or whatever, just that person's opinion. So I do try to tell people to really just kind of let it go. Like, who cares about that one person? But also there are things you can learn. I mean, when you get a negative review, there are some nuggets in there that you can go, wow, everyone's saying they love this book, but they don't like the ending. And that's valuable. Like, you need to listen to that because especially on something like NetGalley, you can post an arc. Like, before the book comes out, you can post your book or audiobook and get reader feedback. And if you're hearing something like that, or things like on there, people can vote for your cover. They do it with a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? Well, if you're getting tons of thumbs down on your cover, you should probably get a new cover made. Listen to readers. They're telling you they don't like this thing. Don't take it personally. Listen and then make updates. And you know what? You put up a new cover and it gets tons of thumbs ups. That's good. Then you're like, okay, I did a good thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love it if you would share the IBPA website address so people can learn more about, and, if they're not yet members yet, maybe they have been convinced by us, that, or at least recognizing the value of it. If you would share that.
Of course. Yeah. So, again, we have author publishers, independent publishers, authors, all that. It's IBPA-online.org. And if you just go to Google and type in, Independent Book Publishers Association. And again, if you're a IBPA member, you do get a $30 discount on IBPA membership. So you should reach out to Becky, her team,
That's right,
and get that promo code. But yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how much, I've learned working here, and I've made really genuine friends with all the indie publishers. And so every time new people join, it's a chance to make new connections. So I do hope people, decide that it's a good fit for them. And you're welcome to reach out in advance and ask more questions if you're not quite sure if it's a good fit for you.
Yeah, great. Thanks. And we'll put that website address in the description for the podcast as well. Christopher Locke, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Becky, I'm grateful to you. Thank you so much. I'm honored that I know you, and thank you for everything you do for indie publishers and independent authors as well.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.